Welcome to In Conversation With, a limited series presented by the Children's Trust in partnership with Miami's community newspapers. My name is Bevonne Ritchie, and I'm the Director of Programs at the Children's Trust of Miami-Dade County. I am pleased to host this episode of In Conversation with the Children's Trust Parent Club at Florida International University with Dr. Katie Hart. Parents and caregivers can attest that raising children can be one of the most challenging things anyone will have the privilege of doing. Despite the many upsides to parenting, we can always use a lending hand or ear to help us on our parenting journey to raise happy, resilient children. If you're a parent who's looking for support, then look no further than the Children's Trust Parent Club. This free initiative offers a variety of in-person or virtual workshops covering a wide range of topics from dealing with toddler tantrums to understanding your teenagers. So welcome, Dr. Hart.
Thank you so much, Bevonne, for inviting me here today.
We are excited for this topic to share with our audience all that we know about parenting and Parent Club. I'm familiar with you because we've worked together. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to the place of understanding about parenting?
Of course. Well, thank you again for this opportunity. It's such an important topic. Parenting is a journey. Kids don't come with a manual or a handbook. And so many parents were just trying to survive and figure it out. And that's what I love about Parent Club is the opportunity to really have parents come and learn, share, and connect and get really great resources that will help them on their journey. I got started in this field. I'm an associate professor of psychology at FIU, and I direct our Center for Children and Families, which is a research, training, and service center that focuses on children's mental health. And I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and my focus is on children. And, when you're working with children, you're working with their caregivers and their parents and the people that support them. And so, we've recognized for decades and decades and decades that parents play such a critical role in shaping the lives of children. They really are the children's first teachers. And we know that if we can support them, children can be healthier and more well-adjusted as they age. And, those kids become are adults. And so we have known and recognized that parenting is critical. I also now understand even more the joys and challenges of parenting because I'm a parent myself of two young boys, 4 and 7, who, you see, just so much joy on the day-to-day basis, but then you also are challenged, even when as much as you think you don't know until you're there.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful to be able to come together with families now being in a new role in my life too, to share about things that really can be helpful and will help them navigate the journey.
Yes, yeah. So, I understand parenting can be surprising all the time. It's fun, it's exciting, and I think bringing that individual experience to your journey is helpful to the work that you're doing. So thank you for sharing that. Also wanted to ask a little bit about, because you're a partner within the Parent Club, the Children's Trust Parent Club. It's an initiative that we have 3 partners in it.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just tell us a little bit more about what the Parent Club is?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The Children's Trust Parent Club is really a collaborative initiative across 3 key partners, us at FIU Center for Children and Families, along with Be Strong International and the University of Miami's Department of Pediatrics at the Mailman Center for Child Development. And together then we're hoping to reach over 10,000 families annually to provide them with education and resources that are evidence-based, meaning that they really come from the source of what really works and what's really effective in building consistent and effective practices with our kids that will really help them grow and develop in a healthy way over time. The workshops, as you've already highlighted, are free, so it's absolutely at no cost to any family. They don't have to meet any eligibility criteria. If you're a parent or a caregiver, you are welcome at one of our events. And we offer all of the workshops in 3 languages. So we have workshops in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. They're live in person. Those are my favorite because you really get to connect with other parents who have been there. But we also understand that parents have a hard time carving out time to come to a workshop. So we have opportunities for parents to join us virtually as well.
Yeah, yeah. I've had the pleasure myself of participating in some of the workshops, and you hit it right on the nail that it really is a great opportunity for parents to connect and get together with other parents and learn a little bit. I know oftentimes parents reflect on their parenting journey, and they put a lot of weight on sort of the outcomes, whether their children are they have successes and whether they have failures, and oftentimes they put a lot of weight on themselves, because maybe it's not working the way they intended. Can you sort of give some insight on what might be a better approach to think through your parenting journey when you think the world is on your shoulder?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that first and foremost, parents have to understand that they're not alone. So many parents wrestle with that every day. Did this arrive? Did our morning routine go as planned? Did we get to school on time? Did I react to my teenager in the appropriate way when they were upset and frustrated about not getting to go out with their friends? There's so many little decision points in your parenting journey that really, you can overthink. But I think that, one, recognizing you're not alone, that there is support and good support out there, but also figuring out a way to understand that you also need to really take care of yourself as a parent. We often use this analogy, many people have heard it, that when you get on a plane, for example, and they say that, if there's turbulence, you put on your mask before you put on the mask of others. Or you can't pour from an empty cup. Yes. Those things are so true. So if you as a parent are not well and healthy and getting what you need to be stable and supportive, it's really hard for you to do and provide that same thing for your child. So I think in recognizing that, our workshops often covered these 2 things. We want families to, one, feel validated that this is tough, but also then feel like they're getting something out of the experience that will help them feel like they've got this and empower them that, there's a lot more hope and a lot more optimism that we can have.
Yeah, that nurturing part of nurturing yourself first, yes. Right? You can't really help yourself and help others unless you help yourself. So I think that's great. Another sort of point that we often hear is, as a parent, I'm a parent as well, you want to protect. You want to be that safety net for your children. But in doing so, sometimes you overprotect or you do everything for them, right? So can you just sort of speak to what's a healthy balance of, being the protector of your children and also allowing them some level of independence so that they can learn and grow and be inquisitive in this world?
Yes, absolutely. It really is so. I think we've learned so much in the field and recognize where there can be potential red flags and challenges that parents often do overprotect their children and don't give them the opportunity to fall down sometimes, to figure it out. And so much of our ability to play in the sandbox of life or be able to get along with others is being able to navigate challenges. So if you've never had to do that on your own and build those social emotional skills or those coping skills to get through tough times, then it's really hard when then you become a young adult or an adult, and then you're doing that for the first time and trying to navigate other relationships. So one of the best things that parents can do is to provide opportunities for kids to, have a safe, I can understand where parents want to have a safe place for kids to fall, but sometimes the fall is a little bit harder than a soft landing. Although I think we can pad it a little bit so that we have scaffolded experiences that allow kids to learn. Because again, if we don't give our kids the opportunity, they won't learn. And so much of what we need to do in life to problem solve through the challenges is to, get up when you fall down.
Yeah, yeah. I as a parent had to sort of learn that balance, of allowing them to fail, right? So that there is a learning opportunity. So I think that is an important message to share. And I know within the workshops, those types of messages are embedded in many of the curriculums that you present on the Parent Club. So I know we mentioned that these workshops are available. They're group-based workshops, right?
Right.
So they occur in group-based format, whether virtually or in person, and they run the range of different topics. So can you just share a little bit about what parents are telling about what they're getting from participating in these workshops?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been incredible to see the club grow over time. So we began in 2019, and we began with this limited set of workshops that focused on positive parenting skills, but it didn't meet all the new needs of families. For example, technology is a challenge that many families have voiced to us that they have difficulties navigating, and what could we help share about how to manage screen time, how to build, continue to build healthy and strong relationships, but, addressing then key issues that may also be important to families, like also managing bullying or when to be concerned about things. So we have new workshops now that focus on speech and language concerns in young children, as well as understanding ADHD, which is a chronic medical condition that can sometimes many families have to navigate and face, and they don't know where to turn for help. We also have workshops on test anxiety. What I've been really proud to see is that we've been able to hear from our parent constituents, and they've really shared with us what they'd like to hear more of. And so we've gone to the evidence and to the research and to the science to then make sure that what we're providing for families is truly informed by effective and scientific-based strategies that will actually work, because so much of, if you are going to try something out, you want to try something that hopefully has more of a likelihood of working and fitting for your family than, just some information that's out there, because there's a lot of information out there. It's hard to sort through what's really good and what's maybe not so ideal.
Yeah. And so you segue into my next sort of question about that. There is a lot of information that's out there, right? Yes. About being a good parent, being what a bad parent is, So how do parents or caregivers navigate through that information to know which one to sort of listen to, or which one to let's not listen to those incorrect voices?
Absolutely. There's a lot out there on TikTok, on social media. It's really easy to believe what you hear, the first time you hear it. And maybe it does speak to parts of your experience. So I don't want to discredit any of those folks that are on those, channels that are sharing information, because it certainly is a platform for people to really hear. But I will say, take that information and then go back to, trusted sources. That's what we're trying to build here in our community, is that the Parent Club is a trusted source. So we really encourage families to share in our workshops about what they've seen on social media, and what then, and get our input on then what we know is then backed by science. But we also really have looked at a lot of these. We also tried to point parents in the right direction. So the American Academy of Pediatrics, for example, has a lot of incredible resources on their website. We have great resources on the ChildrensTrust website as well. There's a parenting newsletter that parents can read in our community. I think it's on a monthly basis. It shares on new topics that, I think all families are really wrestling with. So I think it's pointing people in the right direction. And just because you see it, on on your social media feed doesn't mean that it is coming from, a
reputable
reputable
source.
source.
Yeah. So just to build a little bit more on the conversation around social media and its impact, particularly impact on a child or even adults' mental health, right? Can you just speak a little bit about that, how you can sort of keep that level of noise out, or what should parents do as it relates to social media and a child's mental health?
Right. I think what we're learning about the impact of social media on children's mental health is that balance is key, and balance is key for anything, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about balance is key for parenting. You have to be high on love, but also high on limits. And you need to have consistency in your routine and in your responses to all the things that may happen to your child. But you also, we have to be really careful to say that, like, social media, we don't want the message to be that social media is bad, because there's lots of ways that people are connecting through social media in ways that they couldn't before. So it really is finding the balance and understanding then developmentally where your child is too, and their understanding. So when do you allow your child to join social media? When they do join, how are you going to monitor that as a parent? And what you're going to teach them about appropriate limits online, because that really becomes this profile that they have on the internet that, that's what employers can have access to in their lives down the road, depending on how then they respond to a peer's post, or, to what their friends might be posting online might impact their friendships later on. They're really, but that's all things that we have to teach and coach our kids on, which, no parent, I got my first cell phone when I was 20 years old. And that phone, you could not text on it. Yeah. It was very simple, just numbers on the phone. I didn't even have to handle that. That wasn't really until, we have not, the surgence of social media and just connectedness online and through phones really is like post 2007 and on. Yeah. So, no parent really lived in that, and they may be online, but you're navigating it as an adult, not as a child. And so it really is key that we, help families figure all of those things out. And I will say, too, that there's a lot of people in the mental health community who are doing work in this very area, seeing how social media influences anxiety and depression. But they're seeing, again, this mixed piece is like sometimes there are events online that cause a lot of anxiety and depression, but then there's a lot of communities online that help build resilience to overcome that anxiety and depression. So the balance is where we need to be, and we want to make sure that families understand and are educated and have that knowledge. Yeah. So you shared so much with us, and in a little bit we'll talk a little bit. I'll sort of share with you what I got from our conversation, but we have a couple of viral videos that we want you to react to. So the first video, I'm gonna play it, and then I'm going to pass it over to you, and you sort of tell us
Kids,
your
it's 8:12,
reaction.
we're gonna be late to school. Come on, guys, it's time for school. It's 8:02, we're gonna be late. We don't want to be late. Let's go, guys, we don't want to be late. Remember what happened last time? For the love of God, how hard is it to put your shoes on? Let's go.
I shared that I have a 4 and 7-year-old, and getting out the door in the morning is always a challenge. And so in seeing that, I'm like, oh, that was my morning today. And, I think a lot of parents have challenges setting up a routine, and it's like, how do you reinforce routine in your children and build consistency, especially when you're pressured. It's not just about getting the kids to school on time, it's about you getting to work on time, or you getting to where you need to be on time. So you have to really think and examine not only what the how the kids are responding, but what you're bringing to the situation and like the stress that
Yes.
you're bringing to the situation. And you can see in her face that, like, for the love of God,
Yes.
it really is like she's gotten to a point too that her emotion meter is high because she's probably stressed about what's, like, then if I don't get them to school on this time, I'm going to be late for this. And you just see the domino.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So one of the things that we do in Parent Club is we have this really great workshop called The Power of Positive Parenting. It's one of our signature workshops. It's from Triple P, which is a evidence-based curriculum that was originally established in Australia, but has gone international and worldwide, and was one of the curriculum that we providers could choose from when we were initially starting the club. And they have this great workshop about how you can build routine and consistency, because you can't also expect that your kids can get out the door without support. So you've got to like work step by step to do that. And so some of our workshops really help parents figure out like what's the step by step and how do you reinforce each step so that you can all have some success.
Okay, we've got another video. That I want to share and to get your reaction to. Right.
I'm crying. I see. I'll dry your eyes and then you go to the potty and then you go to bed, okay? Okay. Can you give me a hug? Come give me a hug. I love you.
So I want to keep my kids off social media.
Adorable.
And who are, especially for parents of toddlers, and our kids want so much our attention, and one of the things we really try to highlight for parents is like the power of your attention and how you can use your attention to really tune into your kids, but also recognize when maybe they're getting attention for little things and they're doing it to then delay doing the things that they need to do, like go to bed or brush their teeth or put their shoes on. It depends on what the situation may be. But I think that really highlights like how much you can, if you take a bird's eye view and you can step back. Sometimes when you're in it, you don't see the bigger picture and how your kids are really pulling for your attention. It's like, one more hug, mommy, please, please. You know?
Yeah. I've had to go back and I wouldn't say apologize, but I've said to my kids in certain situations, I've handled that incorrectly because I know they were just looking for some attention for me.
Yes.
So it's a reflection, I think, is really important in your parenting journey. Just reflecting on what might have just happened or might have happened a few days before.
Absolutely.
So one more video just to get your reaction too.
But my son says, well, most of my friends have Instagram. Now, if it was every friend and he was the only one who was excluded, it would be really hard for me to stick to my guns. Whereas if it was only a few of his friends and most of them weren't, it would be so easy.
So this is a great video because Jonathan Haidt has written this book called The Anxious Generation. He's a social psychologist, and he talks about how we as parents are providing too much of a safety net for our kids, and how he uses the metaphor of the sport curling, which I don't know that people in South Florida sort of know what curling is. It is a winter sport.
Yes, and the older generation might know.
Yes, but you're changing the way that the kids are navigating because you're providing a lot of support that then doesn't allow them to mess up. But he also talks about the power of social media and fueling that anxiety, and then that not the lack of preparedness our next generation of kids has in navigating emotional challenges. And he's talking specifically about access to social media because a lot of families, as I was saying before, don't know when to start that, and what are also the appropriate social media channels, and knowing then the safeguards on that. So he's advocated for, don't even give them access to it until they really can understand and navigate that. And when you then decide to start using social media, you have some really effective monitoring strategies in place. But it's a great book full of information that does help families sort of recognize maybe what are some of the new ways that we're challenged as parents in today's day.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Hart. You shared so much with us today. And one of the key things is there are opportunities to learn more about this through participating in our Children's Trust Parent Club. And you, along with the other partners, are great partners to deliver these workshops. And again, they're free. And there's great opportunity to learn. What I heard was give yourself grace, there is a support system that's out there, whether that be through group parenting classes like the Parent Club, or through other experts that might be out there providing support. So I appreciate you for doing this. And thank you so much for watching this episode of In Conversation With. This series highlights critical community issues and individuals and programs whose impacts help remedy our community greatness. We know that parenting can be challenging, and that's why the Children's Trust Parent Club exists, right? So it takes a village to raise a child. Find your village by attending one of the Children's Trust Parent Club workshops. Workshops are available online and in person, English, Spanish, Haitian Creole. We have the opportunity, if there's a special workshop that someone needs, we can offer that. So you can reach out to us for that. We have many interactive workshops that not only is just about the parent, but includes participation with your child, or in the instances where you just need childcare to attend the workshop, that is also offered. So you can visit our website at thechildrenstrust.org/parent club to sign up now for a parent club workshop. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hart, for being my guest and for the insightful conversation. It was great to learn more about what we can do as caregivers, parents, to support our children. Thank you.